You wake up early, sometimes before the sun rises. You rush through traffic, fighting for space on crowded roads, sitting in your car longer than you sit at your dinner table. You work longer hours than ever before. 10-hour days. 12-hour days. Some weeks feel endless. You skip lunch breaks. You answer emails at night. You work on weekends when deadlines demand it. You do everything right. And yet, at the end of the month when you check your bank balance, something feels wrong. The number is there. Your salary came in. But somehow it looks weaker than it did just a few years ago. You're not lazy. You show up. You deliver. You push yourself. You're not careless. You budget. You track expenses. You avoid unnecessary spending. You're not bad with money. You save when you can. You think before you buy. So why does it feel like no matter how hard you work, no matter how responsible you are, you're slowly falling behind? Why does it feel like your parents lived better on less? Why does a comfortable life seem harder to reach now than it did a generation ago? This isn't a coincidence. This isn't your failure. This is a system. And it's happening to millions of people around the world, quietly, invisibly, relentlessly. There was a time when hard work meant real progress. A time when the equation was simple and fair. You worked hard. You earned more. You saved money. Your savings grew. Your future felt secure. If you wanted a home, you worked for a few years, saved diligently, and you could afford one. If you wanted to support a family, one income was often enough. If you wanted to retire comfortably, a pension and modest savings would carry you through. That was the deal. That was the promise. Work hard, be responsible, and life rewards you. But that world doesn't exist anymore. Today, you can work harder than your parents ever did. You can have better education. You can be more skilled. You can be more productive. And still struggle to afford the same life they had. A single-income household that could buy a home, raise children, and save for retirement? That's becoming a distant memory for many. Not because you failed. Not because you didn't try hard enough. But because the rules changed. The system evolved. The economy shifted. And most people were never told. They just kept working harder, wondering why the results kept shrinking. Let's start with the biggest thief of all. Inflation. Inflation doesn't announce itself. It doesn't send you a warning letter. It doesn't knock on your door and tell you it's coming for your money. It slowly steals. Quietly. Legally. Inevitably. Here's how it works. Your salary might go up by 3% this year. Maybe 5% if you're lucky. You feel good about it. You got a raise. You're making progress. But here's what they don't tell you in that meeting. Prices went up by 8%. 10%. In some years, 12% or more. Food costs more. The same groceries that cost you $5,000 last year now cost $6,000. Rent costs more. That apartment you could afford comfortably 3 years ago? The landlord just raised it by 20%. Fuel costs more. Your commute to work is now eating a bigger chunk of your paycheck every single month. Education costs more. If you have children, the fees for good schools have doubled in less than a decade. Healthcare costs more. A simple medical emergency can wipe out months of savings. So even though you're earning more on paper, your money buys less in real life. You're running faster. But the road is moving backward beneath you. And here's the cruelest part. This happens every single year. Year after year after year, your purchasing power shrinks. That's why the salary that felt generous 5 years ago now feels barely enough. That's why you're working just as hard or harder but feeling poorer. You didn't change. The value of your money did. Now let's talk about where your money is kept. Your bank account. It feels safe, doesn't it? It feels responsible. Feels like the smart thing to do. You were taught to save. To keep money in the bank. To build an emergency fund. And that's not wrong. Savings are important. But here's the uncomfortable truth that nobody wants to say out loud. Money sitting idle in a savings account is slowly losing value every single year. Let's say your bank gives you 4% interest on your savings. Sounds decent, right? But if inflation is running at 7 or 8%, you're not gaining anything. You're losing. Every year, your money buys less than it did the year before. If you saved $100,000 5 years ago and left it untouched in a savings account, that same $100,000 today has less purchasing power. It's still $100,000, but it's weaker. You can't buy as much. You can't do as much. It doesn't stretch as far. You're not growing poorer suddenly. You're being drained slowly, silently, legally, guaranteed. And the worst part? Most people don't even realize it's happening. They see the number in their account stay the same or grow slightly, and they think they're fine. But they're not. They're on a treadmill that's slowly tilting backward. Then comes the next trap. And this one is more obvious but just as devastating. Debt disguised as comfort. Credit cards, personal loans, EMIs, buy now, pay later schemes. They make life feel easier. They make big purchases feel possible. Want that new phone? Just pay in installments. Want that vacation? Put it on the card. Want that car? Low monthly payments, no problem. Until suddenly it is a problem. Debt does something dangerous. It forces your future income to pay for your past decisions. So even when you earn more next year, most of that money is already spoken for. It's not yours. It's going to the bank. It's going to interest payments. It's going to bills you racked up months ago. You're working hard, but you're not working for yourself. You're working to service interest. You're working to pay off yesterday. And here's the trap: debt compounds. Miss one payment and the interest piles on. Pay only the minimum and you're barely touching the principal. Before you know it, you're stuck. The debt grows faster than your ability to pay it off. You're running in place, exhausted, while the finish line moves further away. Let's talk about another harsh reality. Your job income has a ceiling. No matter how skilled you are, no matter how loyal you are to your company, no matter how many extra hours you put in, your time is limited. You only have 24 hours in a day. You can only work so many of those hours before you burn out. You trade hours for money. And when the hours stop, the income stops. That's the fundamental problem with a salary. It's capped by your time and energy. You get a raise? Great. But it's still limited by how many hours you can work. You get a promotion? Wonderful. But you're still selling your time. And time is the one resource you can never get back. That's why working harder doesn't always mean earning better. You're climbing a ladder. But it's a ladder that someone else controls. They decide how many rungs you can climb. They decide how high you can go. They decide when you stop. You can give your best years, your best energy, your best ideas, and still hit a ceiling that has nothing to do with your worth. Meanwhile, something else is happening. Assets are getting more expensive. Real estate, stocks, businesses, gold, investments. And here's the painful truth. Those who already own assets benefit from rising prices. If you bought a house 10 years ago, you're probably sitting on significant gains right now. If you invested in stocks a decade ago, your wealth has likely grown substantially. But if you're just starting now, if you're trying to buy your first home today, if you're trying to enter the market now, it's exponentially harder. The prices have soared. The entry barrier is higher. The gap is wider. This creates a vicious cycle. The rich get richer not because they work harder, not because they're smarter, not because they deserve it more, but because their money works for them. Their assets appreciate. Their investments compound. Their wealth grows while they sleep. Meanwhile, those who don't own assets fall further behind every year. They watch prices rise. They watch opportunities slip away. They watch the gap grow wider. And they're left wondering, why does effort no longer equal reward? Why does working hard no longer guarantee progress? But here's the most important truth. You're not stuck. You're just playing the wrong game. The system rewards ownership, not effort. It rewards assets, not hours. It rewards knowledge, not exhaustion. And once you understand this, everything changes. Working hard is important. Effort matters. Discipline matters. But working smart is essential. So what actually changes everything? First, understanding money. Not just earning it, but protecting it, growing it, using it strategically. Learn how inflation works. Learn how interest works. Learn the difference between good debt and bad debt. Learn how the wealthy think about money not as something to spend but as something to multiply. Second, making money work for you. This means investing, building assets, creating income streams that don't depend entirely on your time. It means putting your money in places where it grows faster than inflation eats it. Stocks, index funds, real estate, businesses, skills that generate passive income. Start small if you must, but start. Because the difference between someone who invests and someone who doesn't compounds dramatically over time. Third, escaping lifestyle inflation. This is the sneaky trap that keeps people stuck forever. You get a raise, so you upgrade your apartment. You upgrade your car. You upgrade your lifestyle. And suddenly you're back where you started. Earning more but saving nothing. Learn to earn more but spend smarter. Not upgrading every desire. Not confusing comfort with success. Live below your means, not at your means. That gap is where wealth is built. Fourth, building multiple income streams. Don't depend entirely on one job, one salary, one source. Develop skills that can generate income independently. Freelance, consult, create, build. The goal isn't to work yourself into the ground. The goal is to create options. So if one stream slows down, others keep flowing. Finally, investing in yourself. Your greatest asset isn't money. It's your skills, your knowledge, your ability to adapt and grow. Invest in learning. Invest in health. Invest in relationships and networks. These are assets that can never be taken away and will pay dividends for the rest of your life. The goal isn't to quit working hard. The goal is to stop working only hard. Because effort without strategy leads to burnout. Effort without direction leads to exhaustion. But effort with understanding, effort with a plan, that leads to freedom. You're not getting poorer because you're failing. You're not struggling because you're lazy or careless. You're getting poorer because the system was never designed for people who only work. It was designed for people who understand money, for people who own assets, for people who make their money work as hard as they do. And the moment you learn the rules, the real rules, not the ones they taught you in school, you stop being a victim of the game and start becoming a player. The choice is yours. Keep running on the treadmill, hoping things will magically get better. Or step off, learn the system, and build a life where your effort actually compounds into progress. The world won't wait, but the opportunity is there, right now, waiting for you to take it.